Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it.
Greetings, Algo artisans. Here we are today on Thursday, January the 8th, 2026. And yeah, looks like for now the euro continues to head down. So the EURUSD was on a magnificent tear. And this is going back all year, last year, like from the beginning of the year. Oh gosh, I think it rose something like 15%. I think it was at near parity. Let's see here, back in, yeah, beginning of the year it was at about parity, so 1-to-1. And it rose, I think at the height, I didn't have to put my glasses on, get on my spectacles here. Yeah, about 18%. Now it's, still around that level. It's really at those highs that we saw about partway through last year, almost halfway through the year, floating up there. But what we're seeing here is, well, it could be a couple of things. We could be seeing a stop on the way up, but ultimately at some point, there's a high likelihood of this heading down outside of any major change in the structure of the entire economy, right? So let's just say let me grab my glasses here. Let's say that the U.S. chooses to debase its currency, right? Which could happen. Let's say the U.S. decides it's time to debase, and therefore, they just have to fix my my stuff here. Apologies. Let's just say that they decide to print a bunch of money and just make the value of the dollar a lot less. Maybe they have to do it to afford some programs. Maybe it has to do with, agreements with other countries, probably, some very quiet agreements. Who knows? Whatever the deal might be, then this could continue up because the dollar would be going down in comparison to these other currencies if those other nations or economic blocks like Europe don't do the same thing. So, when the US makes a move with their currency, the other economies tend to somewhat follow suit, but it's not always, very well defined. What I can say is that at some point, this, even in the near term, this is going to have to come back up. This has been a pretty strong move down going back to Christmas. It's been going down since Christmas, and this will come back up at some point. But right now, it is moving down. And let's see, it's down about, well, not quite over 1%. And in currencies, that's a huge amount. You can even see that the algorithm pinged a bearish look on the daily signal. Where are the most likely places where this will stop going down and where will it go to? We can take a look at that as well. And then we will move on to the NASDAQ and any other currencies that, or, cryptos or anything else that you might request, right? I know a lot of people have their eyes on silver right now. We could take a look at that. If you have something you want to see, just mention it in the comments. Also, while we're here, don't forget to check the description. I got a free algorithm in there in the description. So that will show you how I build algos. And it's an algorithm that I actually can plug into my broker. It'll trade for me while I am not at the computer, although it does require optimization before being used in such a way. So it's almost plug and play, but you have to optimize it for your own trading style, just so you know. All right, so what's going to happen here? Most likely price will make its way down to 116,495. That's currently at 116,696. So I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but if you zoom in, and we will, then that's going to actually be bigger than it seems. So what I'm going to do is draw some blocks at areas I think price wants to go. And then anywhere, this is a pretty big area right now. So, and price might not head there in a straight line, and we'll zoom in a little bit to see what it looks like if I were trading it. And let's code these a different color. And then what I'll do is this blue area is where price might want to reject, where it may not want to go, right? And then in between here, price may or may not want to go through here in the near term. There's kind of an area where it may not want to go right there. So let me go ahead and take a look at what it might look like to trade this. Now, in the near term, it does appear that price wants to head into this yellow block between 116.38 and 116.54. So what I would look for if I were trading this would be some sort of pullback. This is on the 3-hour chart. This is a relatively high time frame for the traders out there. So if you're trading like I'm trading, I might even zoom into the 30-minute chart, and I would look for some kind of a pullback. And this starts to get a little messy on these time frames. At some point, you're going to see a green candle or two, and then it comes up like this maybe, and then heads down. So if I saw a nice green candle or two, ideally one, but two is just as well, almost as well, then I would look for a short. And then my profit taking would be somewhere in this area. You know, I might have it all the way down here, start to take bits of profit out there. That would be a nice trade. And then, of course, be managing that trade. So this is actually a pretty good trade right here. I mean, that's a massive risk to reward, but we don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of guessing where this might happen. So it really might look like this and not be as massive risk to reward. It might look more like this, but, you know, just something along these lines is what the trade would look like, right? Just conceptually. Let's go ahead and take a quick look. Actually, we'll look at Bitcoin. Let me look in the comments. I don't see any requests in the comments. All right. So Bitcoin, I know a lot of people are kind of watching that. I drew this for the private members yesterday. I don't mind sharing it here. I called out that this might happen a few days ago, though. As price started to reject, as Bitcoin was heading up and it bounced off of 94,000, I did predict a possible rejection. When the rejection started to happen, I said one of two things is probably going to occur. One, it'll stay above 90,000 and range up here. The other would be that it breaks back down into this consolidation that we saw between 86,500 and 90,500. And it appears that for now, that is what's going to happen. That it'll probably go into this area, this blue box right here, and bounce around for who knows how long. Now, of course, it could deviate back out and head back up. It's very possible. If I take a look at the algos here, you know, the indicator stack, there is a decent amount of bullishness yet left. So it would not surprise me to see Bitcoin go ahead and recover and head back out. But this is kind of a long process. This is not something that I would count on happening necessarily today. Could happen today, could happen tomorrow, could happen over the weekend. It's hard to say when exactly it would happen. But now that we've done this, what I think I will do is, you know, this could come all the way down here and then come up. It could happen later where it bounces around and then comes up. It could even not make it all the way down and come up. But as of now, it does appear that it will head back up and possibly continue to bounce around in this larger consolidation. Of course, it could do anything, but I don't think that Bitcoin is ready to fall just yet down below 84,000. Now, if it did, that would be rather bearish for Bitcoin, because as of now, there is reason on a higher time frame for Bitcoin to not fall below 84,000. So if it did reject below that, then that would be very bearish for Bitcoin right now. So that's something to understand. If price were below, just say 80, really the floor is closer to 80,000. But really, if price came down and did not stay above this low point from back in November, which is 80,000 and a half, 80,400, or if price were rejecting and it looked really bearish and it were just staying down there, I would think that the bull market is definitely over, or at least high probability over at that point. So let me see if we have time for one more before the private live lab. I'll take a look at the NASDAQ. I drew yesterday this kind of bullish formation. In reality, I wouldn't say price is broken above it. And so this is just like an old school trading triangle. It's called a bullish ascending triangle. And it's showing that price wants to climb above this 26,000 level. Now you do have the all-time high here at 26,387 for the NASDAQ. Now the rest of the indices are doing pretty well, but NASDAQ is lagging. And NASDAQ really was dominating for so long that it's, going to lag for a while, especially in the current environment around the world. So what I would consider is that we may see a pop up here, but that all-time high is going to be the real test, which is at 26,400. As of now, it does appear that it's holding. It is kind of holding, and it's going to want to climb up there. But of course, that could change, and this could head down, and nothing is guaranteed. But as of now, it does appear to be holding at this level. All right, thanks for watching. We are going to head over to the private live lab. So let's see, is today Thursday? Yeah, so today is the last live show for this week. We'll be back on Tuesday, 8:30 a.m. EST. Get the free algo links in the description. Optimize it before you use it, but it is something that I've designed, and I've shown people in that video how traders link that to their computer. They hook it up to their broker so it can trade without them being present, right? It's pretty cool stuff, and it's free. Go ahead and do that. What else we got? Yeah, I will also be putting out the weekly video, the weekly market forecast on Monday. So if you sign up for that free algo, I will also email you and let you know when that video is ready. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you next week.